Hello everyone. In this short video I'm going to demonstrate some of the features and the functions of the API that I've been working on, and it's basically an aggregator of all events, calendars from different sources. But one of the unique features about this API is that it is backed by several backends or databases. For instance, what I'm going to demo right now is the ability to simultaneously have the data be stored as well as retrieved from two different databases. One is a NoSQL, Mongo to be precise, as well as a graph, Neo4j in this instance. So let's take a look at what that will look like. So if the user synchronize one of their calendars, let's take Google for instance as an example, they will end up with something similar to what we will see right now. So these are different calendars. As you can see, here's Google, here's Facebook, and several other ones that are not from a third party. So if we take a look at that calendar, all of the relationships of the calendar are going to be fetched from the source and mapped into the back end. In this case, as I stated, like one is a NoSQL and the other one is a graph. So here's Google. We found that it has 5 events, as you can see. They all belong to that calendar. And if we try to expand some of these events, we're going to find that this user, this specific user, which is actually the email account that I have, was the creator and the organizer of that particular event. And if we double click over here, we will see that that particular user organized 3 more of these events. And if we expand more here, we're gonna find out that that particular user also has attended. So this is the attendee. So this is the main user, the 357, and that user has several roles or hats, if you will. So it can act as an organizer, as a creator, as attendee. And as an attendee, right here we can see that it has attended 2 events by these vectors right here. We can see we're gonna come back to all of that right now, and one of those events was organized by AWS. So this is truly and literally a map of all the information that was fetched from the Google Calendar, mapped over to this graph with all the relationships between the different entities, what they did, like with the event. Did they organize the events? Did they create it? Did they attend it? And so on and so forth. And all of that in relation to the calendar. All of this is happening simultaneously in the back end by just the mere fact of synchronizing the calendars. In addition, this creates a permanent link, a one-to-one between this API and the third party. So whenever any event changes on the Google side, it will be reflected back here and vice versa. Now let's see how that looks on the Mongo, because it will be the same exact information. So these are the projects, like now we can look at the users, and the user would be this particular person right here with the 357. And let's go ahead and copy that ID because we might be needing it. So let's edit that. I'm going to copy that object ID because I'll be using it. So now let's switch over to how that looks on the Ruby or on the Rails side. So now we are inside the console right here. And the idea came to me from, can we use two ORMs simultaneously? Meaning that can the same object be interacting with the Mongo ORM as well as the Graph Neo4j ORM simultaneously? And we're going to see a demonstration right here. So let's start with calendars, for instance. So let's go to calendar and fetch the first one. And as you can see, that's the Mongo side. So we're getting all the information from the Mongo side. But on this particular one, can I go from Mongo to Graph and get the representation of that particular object? And all I need to do is just do .graph, and now I got the same representation of that instance on the graph side. And we're gonna see, like, how useful that would be very soon. But this is something very unique, like it hasn't been done. Like, the same class is interacting with two different backends, with two different ORMs on the same object. For examples, like, if we see that we have a user, so let's go ahead and fetch a user that we were talking about. So we're gonna go ahead and say user. Let's find this particular one that we were talking about right here. Let's see if we still have that. Yep. All right, so we were able to find that particular user. And now it's stored in user. Now, again, this is the Mongo side, and to fetch information or to interact with that particular user on the graph side, all I need to do is just convert it right here and say user.graph. And now I got the same representation, and it is actually even the same ID, but now we are looking at the graph side. Now, what can we do with all of that? For instance, if that particular user owns certain projects, we can get it from the Mongo side easily by saying user, I think, projects. Let's see if that's hooked up. Yes, and we can see that it doesn't have any projects. But what if we want something like that? What are all the projects that this user has collaborated on? So how can we fetch that easily from Mongo? There's no easy way. There's a lot of data manipulation and joins and all different kind of ways that you would want, and you have to iterate through it. But because we have the same representation in a graph, we can easily obtain all of the collaboration because we have the graph is mapping that particular user to all the project that it has collaborated on. So what we will do is we're going to say that user, but now let's switch to the graph side and then ask for this right here, all the project that it has collaborated on. And we get that even though it's an empty set, but now we can directly fetch that immediately. I'm gonna demonstrate like even a better use case very soon. But let's see, like, what can we do with these with that dual backend system or dual ORM. I can say user dot roles. So I want to see, like, what kind of capacity did this user, like, acted on. And we have here, there's one of them. This user, has the capacity of being an event organizer, an event creator, and that's about it. So now, let's see what can we do with that. So this is again on the Mongo side. So if we want to get the last one, we want to see as a creator. So this will be the user as a creator from the Mongo side, but then let's switch it to the graph. And now I am the creator on the graph side. And let's see if I can get immediately from that, I believe it's called created events. And now, again, as you can see, we have, let's count those, do a count on it. And they are 5. And if we switch over back over here, so as a creator over here, you can see that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has created 5 events. That's what we are able to interact with over here. So even though we started from the Mongo side, we are able to fetch really useful information from the graph representation, which is an identical or a mirror of that. So again, never done before that you can be interacting with data that is in one database, in one format, which is the Mongo NoSQL here, but you have a mirror relationship, that is happening simultaneously as you're interacting with it. Now, these are absolutely paired, anytime that one changes, it is going to be reflected into the other system automatically. One of the cool things that we can see in here is how we can get the attendances of that user. So let me see if I can go up right here and see that user. These are all the collaborations. Yeah, right here. So we can, as you can see, over here, we're saying that particular user, switch it to be a graph now, and find it as an attendee, and find all the events that it attended. Again, that's information you cannot easily fetch from the SQL or NoSQL side, but thanks to the graph mapping, we're able to immediately jump into all the events that have been attended by this user. Again, starting from the Mongo side and then fetching very useful information. And if we want to get the first event that that this user has attended, we get that particular one. But now, can we switch back to the actual document on the Mongo side and get that information? And we can do that as easily as saying .document, and that gives us the entire record from the Mongo side on that event. So we went and got all the events that this particular user attended, and then once we found the one that we were interested in, or actually on all of them, we can go back and get all of this information, which is a ton of information that is not saved on the graph side, because the graph is only just giving us the relationships. But then we can switch easily to that particular, as you can see, how simultaneously that happens, and we can go and get the actual document and go get all the information. As you can see, this are all the notes and all the information from one of the events that I attended. It's a conversation with I think AWS. So I hope this kind of demos what can be done, and to just prove that we are able to do this. Let me see if I can. So let's say if this is the document, and let's see if we can go ahead and delete it. And now it's gone. Now it's gone from both, on the Mongo side as well as the graph side. So now if we go back right now and get the first one, it's going to be a different event right now. Which actually, let's prove that and get the document. And this is a completely different document right now. All right. Hope you enjoyed that